pure experiences.
Welcome to the voice version of the blog, Pure Experiences. You are listening to the article, Afflictions of the Mind Part 4.5, The Prison of Beliefs, published on the 7th of September 2016 by Tarun Pradhaan. Published on pureexperiences.blogspot.in. This article discusses beliefs and resistances.
4.5 Resistance. We have gone through the broad kinds of beliefs. This is not a textbook classification, just my own understanding from my own experiences with beliefs. So I must have left out a few kinds or created a few new kinds. But classification is not important. The important issue is to be free from all beliefs. We have already seen how this can be a difficult goal. One can encounter some difficulties when one tries to force the beliefs out of his mind. They are an integral part of a person, his life, and perhaps many lives. The essential task on the path to freedom is to destroy all beliefs and let the self shine as it is, in its purest form. It all starts from getting rid of beliefs that are superficial and then slowly digging them out of the depths of the mind. It can take a lifetime or perhaps many lives. The first difficulty one may find is that people don't know that they have beliefs. Many people are often surrounded by others with same/similar beliefs. That's how one gets a major portion of beliefs, via indoctrination, socio-cultural brainwashing. It helps to question everything, helps to explore new ideas and contradicting beliefs, and to remain open-minded but critical of all indirect knowledge. Some people resist change. They fear change of any kind. They find security, peace and happiness in old ways. This attitude is seen in regard to beliefs too, and actually stems from beliefs themselves. Such a person ignores all new information, knowledge or advice that can uproot his beliefs. Some of them may even admit that they don't want to get rid of their beliefs, giving reasons that they are happy because of the beliefs. For some, the cognitive dissonance is too much to bear and they find familiarity with old beliefs more comfortable and soothing. Mostly they are motivated to give up their beliefs only when the suffering caused by them exceeds the comfort they provide. Probably there is no other way to cure the ignorance of people who stick to the status quo. The other major difficulty is that ideas and arguments that counter the belief of a person are seen as insults and attack on himself by that person. Even when the beliefs are pointed out, the person holding them resists their removal by defending them as if his survival is threatened. If he realizes that his beliefs has no real basis, the first thought of the person is, "I am surely going to look like a fool for believing this stuff," and so he makes all efforts to convince the other that his belief is not a belief but is a fact. In worst cases, the person convinces himself that what he believes is a fact. It doesn't take his mind long to come up with all kinds of excuses and fantasies to support the beliefs he is defending. You will see the reaction of such a person in the form of anger, counterattacks, illogical arguments, personal attacks or ridicule of the contradicting idea. He is just aroused and is defending himself from a perceived insult or a threat. Sometimes the reaction is to avoid the situation. The avoidance is seen as a sudden change of topic, a laugh-it-off reaction, or actually leaving the room. So we find that self-preservation tendencies kick in as soon as one encounters a contradicting belief or anyone who points out a belief. Mind has a peculiarity that the imagined threats or verbal threats cause a similar reaction in the person as those of real threats to the life, say an attack by an animal. This has evolutionary reasons and it is helpful sometimes, because a deadly fight often starts with insults. So it is logical that the mind prepares the body by reacting in a defensive way. Once the control slips from intellect to the ego, to be discussed later, it's all mechanical from there onwards. An ignorant person has not severed the ancient connection of his intellect with his ego, and finds himself acting in uncontrollable ways. The defense, the anger and the violence happens on its own, once it is triggered. Somehow the beliefs, the erroneous ideas, become a part of the personality, a structure defining the person, and the survival instincts are unleashed to defend the beliefs in exactly the same manner they defend the person from danger. Now you know how is it possible to cause a war simply by ridiculing some odd beliefs of the other party. Note that this has nothing to do with intelligence, and an extremely intelligent but untrained person will also act in mostly the same way. Cultured people can often suppress the reaction, but do get offended and keep that hurt in their minds. An attempt to correct someone's belief can easily ruin any relationships or friendships. This is especially true if the belief is related to religions or politics, or sometimes genders and races too. The list of sensitivities is long if you ask me. What is the proper reaction when your knowledge is conclusively shown to be just a baseless belief? Needless to say, bow down in gratitude, thank the person who has done this favor on you. Consider yourself fortunate that you were shown your errors. You have successfully liberated yourself from the shackles of a belief. You have progressed one step further. What can be better than that? I'd suggest, go ahead and ask for a review of your other knowledge about other stuff. Do not miss this opportunity. Make that person your friend or your teacher and stick to him, if possible. Once you are as knowledgeable as he is, you have seen the matter as a direct experience. Your learning will stop, but the loving relation will last. However, if the person is unable to realize that his belief is baseless, he is often puzzled, becomes doubtful, and the thought is something like this: what the hell this person is talking about? I know I'm correct. The reaction is again to preserve his belief. Most of the people have a bias that they cannot be wrong and refuse to analyze their own beliefs. In best cases, the person politely disagrees and goes on with his business, but in worst cases he may ridicule or insult the person who is honestly trying to show him his error. The poor fellow never gets any respect again and the relationship goes downhill. Or the person holding the belief may take pity on the one who thinks otherwise, and may try to convince the other how he is wrong instead. He may bring forward all kinds of evidences, quotes by authorities and what not to prove his case. It usually gets all convoluted and the debate then shifts to how all that evidence is right or wrong. The belief stays where it was or gains more strength, as it becomes more of a matter of who wins rather than what is right. You will mostly find that a believer wants to win, and the person who has knowledge will not care much about proving himself, for obvious reasons. What is the proper reaction of a seeker when he can't see that his knowledge is unfounded when pointed out? Ask more questions. Demand counter-evidences. Ask for explanations. Ask for direct experiences or how to get them. Sleep over it. Do not immediately judge the counterclaims. Thank the other person and tell him that you will try to see it and correct your mistake, if any. If your ideas were indeed unfounded, you will find yourself going through the stages of realization: I need to find this out, to I don't know, to perhaps I'm wrong, and finally I was wrong, it's just a belief. You have just destroyed a belief. Celebrate. Don't forget to meet that person again and ask for comments on other stuff you know. You have found someone who is upstream, who is more advanced than you, and most importantly, is ready to teach you. Not many are so fortunate. Another resistance comes in the form of stupidity. When pointed out, a person is not only unable to realize his error, he is blissfully unaware of it all. He fails to get the point. There is often no reaction or a wide-eyed puzzled look, and the person wanders off into his zombieland. Sometimes, stupidity does evoke violence and fights, and you learn not to correct the beliefs of a stupid person in a hard way. Anyway, someone has to learn a lesson. Maybe it was your turn. What to do if you can't get the point? Not much. Purifying yourself of the beliefs is not your priority here. Instead, sharpen your intellect. Most of the beliefs make home in the mind of a person because of his failure to critically analyze the indirect knowledge or to understand it. A stupid person simply accepts whatever he is told. If a person lacks intelligence, beliefs find him an easy target. An intelligent, critical thinker who is fully aware of himself rarely falls into a belief trap. Fear is another reason for resisting the removal of beliefs. There is an illusion of security when you are a part of the crowd and believe whatever others in your group believe. This has obvious evolutionary reasons. A herd avoids a predator more effectively than an individual, and hence a fear overtakes the individual if he finds himself away from his group. When a belief is questioned, the primitive instinct takes over the person, and a fear of what would happen if he did not believe in what others around him do arises. Result: the person is forced back into the belief. Sometimes, he is back to the belief, which is now even stronger, because he is now convinced that not giving up the belief has made him more secure. At times the belief weakens, as the person is now aware of the facts, but the person again takes shelter in the belief for the fear of deviating from the norm. A fearful person may dream up evidences to support his belief and justify it, not knowing that he is unconsciously afraid of something. The reaction comes in the form of irrational statements or something like, "I am sorry I believe this no matter what you say." Or, "Do you think everyone else who believes this is a fool?" Such a person is too insecure to stand up for any truths. He keeps his face down. What should you do if you find safety in numbers? Firstly, convince yourself thoroughly that you are holding nothing but a belief. Secondly, leave the crowd behind. A seeker who is afraid of crowds is not much of a seeker. Realize that the majority is going to be ignorant, and sooner or later, you will find yourself standing alone. The cost of freedom is loneliness. If you are so fond of company, seek the company of seekers, teachers and wise. If they are all yes men too, then you are in the wrong company. Your companions should be such that they don't leave a single chance of shooting down your beliefs brutally. Some other reasons for not letting beliefs go are doubt, pride, manipulation, monetary benefits and pleasures/addictions. Doubt occurs when one perceives an attempt to correct his belief as an attempt to deceive him. This happens especially when there is no trust or faith. Doubt prevents the person from shedding his belief, perhaps makes it stronger. Some people take pride in believing something no matter what the evidence say, and no matter how idiotic they look holding it. For example, a person of a superior caste or race has all the reasons to believe in his superiority. Manipulation by others forces the person to remain chained to beliefs. Especially happens with cults, but can happen in offices, families and relations too. The constant brainwashing by others makes the believer incapable of seeing his mistakes. If someone is getting rich out of beliefs, it makes sense to keep the belief. For example, an astrologer who is making money out of his knowledge and expertise, or a snake oil salesman. Pleasures gained from addictions/actions twist the logical circuitry of the brain and makes one believe that the object of pleasure is somehow harmless or even beneficial for him, or the action is fair and just. For example, a gambler would want to believe that gambling will make him rich very soon. A smoker wants to believe that only others die from smoking, he is immune to it, and a pack a day makes him perform better, etc. What to do in above cases? Fix the primary cause first. The belief disappears when it finds no support. The matter is complicated by the fact that the belief and behavior reinforce each other. It may be more difficult to fix the primary cause than belief itself. This is a long path indeed. Such people go through a lot of suffering before they get a hint of where they are wrong. These were some strange resistances people encounter when faced with belief-destroying agents. Perhaps I'm missing a few more, but you get the point. By agents I mean people with knowledge, eye-opening books, reports, experiences and anything that can question a belief. Resistance occurs as a result of deep ignorance. Ignorance is a result of not being aware. Being aware that an idea is not founded on direct experience and can be a belief, weakens the belief considerably. Not justifying the belief crumbles it down. Consciously looking for experiences, evidences, contrary viewpoints and falsification help to destroy the belief completely. What should I do with all those pesky believers? I can't stand them anymore. Tolerate. Period. Have compassion, sympathy, kindness and love for those who are trapped in beliefs. Beliefs cause huge amount of suffering, and a person who is suffering does not deserve hate. Know that those who are further in path are tolerating you now, at this very moment. Beliefs are ignorance manifested, and ignorance is as ancient and vast as mind itself. All knowledge is just ignorance. The self is free only when all beliefs end, and when all knowledge ends. The self doesn't need to know anything else to be self, it shines in its own light. But I want to help people get rid of their beliefs. What should I do? Drop a hint. Set up yourself as a living example. Be diplomatic and sweet. Of course, you can make a person drop any belief by simply pointing a gun to his head. I don't recommend this method, because the cure can be temporary. Symptoms tend to reappear when the gun is pointing away. And remember that the other person can always get his own gun and return the favor. The more you force someone to drop a belief, the more the resistance grows. Some beliefs are like a virus that feeds on antibiotics. Showing the light to the blind does not help much. One must hold his hand and walk with him. Those who have faith in you will walk with you, rest won't. A life free of beliefs is the best way to introduce others to their own beliefs. Those who have eyes will see, they will understand why you live the way you live, why you talk the way you talk. They will follow you. Those who are on the threshold, but are still resisting, can be pushed into the light by a mere hint. The hint needs to be polite, non-threatening, intelligent and even comical. For those who can't even see the hints, being diplomatic, sweet, charismatic and affectionate can help to entice them into the bright side. For extreme cases, sometimes the best action is to walk away from them. For those beliefs that feed on resistance, it is best to leave them alone and let them starve to death. For some people, it causes more harm to their growth when they encounter a truth they are not yet ready for. They may recoil in fear, may get totally confused, may end up in depression, you never know. Eradicating beliefs of others is a tricky affair. If you are on a super fast path, I'd recommend not to mess with people. They will be taken care of. They are already perfect from your point of view. You don't want to fix them. What you really need to do is fix yourself. Get rid of your own beliefs first. Do not engage with people unless they come to you and ask for knowledge. This will save you a lot of trouble, save your time, propel you forward quickly, as you don't need to deal with the consequences of your actions on others. Do not take responsibility for others' growth unless you are permitted to do so. Once you reach the peak, you can guide those in the valley better. You cannot carry others in your arms. Everyone has to walk their own path. Ultimately, remember that there are no others. It's just you here, nothing but yourself. Pure experiences.
You were listening to Pure Experiences by Tarun Pradhaan. For more, please visit pureexperiences.blogspot.in.